The Trump crypto rally seems to be faltering. Bitcoin seeing its biggest drop in 3 weeks as it briefly dipped below 87,000. But our next guest is looking at bright spots ahead for crypto. Movement Labs co-founder Cooper Scanlon joins us now to discuss. Cooper, it is good to see you. So Trump wins re-election, Cooper. The party starts, right? Dancing bears and rainbows. But now we seem to be fading here. I look at Bitcoin. It's hitting a 3-month low. What explains this, Cooper?
Yeah, it's great to be here, Josh. I'm calling in live from ETH Denver right now, the biggest crypto conference in America. So sentiment is still strong on the ground here, looking at this as a blip on a long-term horizon of technical innovation and excitement for what's to come in the US regulatory market. I think that what we're seeing market-wise is consumer confidence dropping nearly 7% from 105 points to 98 points in a single month, alongside inflation and the top performing stocks dipping. So the very foundation of the market is being rattled. And as a 24/7 online industry, crypto tends to feel uncertainty first and the hardest. So it's a very sobering moment to reflect on the foundations that you're building on and investing in.
So Cooper, you're kind of mentioning some kind of macro jitters and concerns. I'm also interested, what about that recent hack of the crypto exchange Bybit? Do you think that's playing any kind of role in this?
Absolutely. You know, our industry is still facing critical security challenges, both technical and social engineering wise. Turning the focus to Bitcoin, if we really laser in on it, we've seen nearly $1 billion leave Bitcoin ETFs in February alone, with about $1.6 billion worth of liquidations in the past 48 hours as well. So as you mentioned, post-election rally is cooling off right now as the economic and regulatory realities become more apparent that these regulation changes aren't going to happen overnight. But I think that regardless of it, as I mentioned, we're still seeing very high sentiment and interest as we meet with institutions here in Denver and at the upcoming digital asset summits as well.
I am interested, I mentioned the Trump administration. Clearly Trump, listen, he campaigned as a friend of this the industry. You look at his team, Cooper and J.D. Vance and Howard Lutnick, RFK Jr., they're all fans. I'm just curious, so far the moves he's made, and granted it's early days, right? He's only been in there for 5 weeks or so. But are you impressed with the moves the Trump administration has made? Are you underwhelmed? How do you feel about it?
I think that if we look at how things were even last year, it's a much better regulatory environment today than it was before. There's a lot less fear and uncertainty, particularly for US founders. I think that the key thing that we in the crypto industry are excited for and looking forward to is this pathway for real regulatory paths for US founders to bring their companies onshore. I think that what we're going to see from this is a lot of legitimate businesses being able to align more with America. And for the folks who want to remain offshore, it's going to speak volumes to the retail and the consumers as well.
What about this idea, Cooper, of a national digital asset stockpile? Our new AI czar, David Sachs, he's now thinking that over. He's evaluating that. You think that happens? And if it did, what would that mean for Bitcoin?
Absolutely. I think it's exciting to have a very forward-looking administration and to have people that we can really place confidence in, such as David Sachs, looking out for us in the crypto and AI space. I think that recently, despite all of the institutional money leaving Bitcoin recently, I see this more as dipping the toes in the market. You're not going to dive headfirst into it if you're these massive players. And I hope that what they have seen is something that they're going to want to see more of in their experiences with the market thus far, and that this is just the start to a transformation of the digital assets landscape and pushing America to be the very first.
Finally, Cooper, let's talk targets, right? So analysts at Bernstein, that's a smart group, right? Their Bitcoin target, they told clients here, closer to 200,000 over the next 12 months. In your opinion, Cooper, reasonable?
In my opinion, the targets speak for the institutional interest as well as the broader consumer interest via ETFs in asset classes such as Bitcoin. So I would hope that with the recent introduction to digital assets that we're seeing a lot of major banks and institutions, getting their feet wet into, that going forward, we're going to be seeing a lot more of that.
Cooper, great to have you on the show today. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Likewise. Thank you, Josh.